The bitch is back. Hello, and welcome to the Why Do Boys Make podcast, the only podcast about the esteemed, prestigious Why Do Boys Play Games Fantasy Football League. It is December 6th, 2023, at the time of recording. My name is Mike, also known as Corby's husband, and I am this week's host. Right at the top of the show, I'd like to send my sincere thank yous to my two co-hosts, Colin and Fitzy. Thank you for holding it down while I was away last week. But now we're all reunited, and it feels so good. Sean, my man, coming off quite the nail-biter the other night. How are you feeling?
Man, Corby, it's good to have you back. It's a shame we didn't dive into the big bag of Corby sound bites you gave us. I really wanted to see another send-off with you saying it, but I did say on Monday night, Arrivederci to Brandy's playoff hopes, but we will get into it.
Great to hear. Of course, we're not alone. My OG is here as always, but we've got Colin. And Colin, a lot has been said this past weekend about your team and things that are transpiring in terms of transactions and whatnot. I've got to know, how are you feeling?
My subconscious has created a nice bubble around my psyche, so I'm putting up a facade of good spirits, but I know deep down I'm in great pain. And, it'll probably take years of therapy to recover from this fantasy season. But, add it to the list. Let's go. I'm still in it. I'm not out. I'm not dead yet, bitch. So let's get into it.
You're not dead yet until we're all dead. In terms of fantasy football, only one person is happy at the end of the season. Before we get into the crazy playoff implications that we have for you today, folks, let's dip into the mailbag. We've got quite a bit of things to talk about. Let's start with Mike. He leads off with some Disco Elysium talk, which I unfortunately missed out on last week. We can probably talk about that forever. But Mike says, I pat the inanimate objects in Disco. Why hurt them? They never did anything wrong.
All right, Mike. This is obviously at me because I got the achievement. Colin, you might have as well. But of course, I pet and did not kick that mailbox. I know what you're talking about. I would never kick that mailbox. But a door, I'm going to slam into the door. The telephone, after my, I assume, ex-wife tells me to hang up, I'm going to slam that phone down. No spoilers. I don't know what's happening yet. I haven't played since last week. But I'm not kicking that mailbox.
I kicked the mailbox. Do you remember what? Yeah, and then I got the achievement too. But I know Mike and Cash did not. Do you remember what specific object you got the achievement on, Fitzy?
It was the telephone that I brought up at the end there. Yes.
Yeah. Mine was a door that I tried to break down. I remember. But yeah, it's a. Did you get this one, Corby? You beat the game, right?
I did beat the game, and I can't remember if I got the achievement or not, but I do remember punching the door in front of Kim and him being like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That's my only recollection. I never really punched things because I just assumed that I was going to lose health, and I was not interested in losing health.
I got an extra 50 cents to throw around on some health items. I want to punch.
Fair enough.
Yeah, once you get the what is it called? The Wompty Dom Center, which is the one where you get money for encyclopedia checks. I had like 300 rail by the end of the game. So I just had like 50 health things. All right, that's enough Disco Elysium talk. Mike says, ham on is a lyric from Fat. Ham on whole wheat.
He did reply to this. I apologize. I missed it in the screenshot. So user, you at home are not seeing. He replied, as in, or I'll sit on you.
Right, as is, or I'll sit on you. Yes. The vibe that I got last episode, because I thought Fitzy I think he at least alluded to this, because I understood that, because I said I didn't get it, and then you kind of told me it was from bad.
So Mike is responding. I said, and I quote, I don't know if this is a lyric or not. If it is, great callback, and if it's not, incredible pun. So Mike is saying credit to Weird Al where it's due. Speaking of musical artists, he's also given a little further Arlo Guthrie shout out. When I hear Alice's Restaurant, I think of Garrett. That's really nice. I can see that. Garrett's a big, he loves telling stories with his music. He's a big Bob Dylan guy. I'm sure he's an Arlo Guthrie guy as well. Mike also says, starting Tim Boyle over Geno. Yes, Tim Boyle sucks, and he should not be starting in the NFL. But if he somehow had an epic game like Mike White against the Bengals, and I missed having him in my lineup, I'd be devastated. Also, I saw Chris starting Kenneth Walker, so I felt like I had a little wiggle room.
Tim Boyle was so bad that he got released. But I understand the sentiment. You could be like Colin and drop a quarterback and have him start against you and lose.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Colin says Alan Rodgers. We're also going to get into that. When I heard that on my way to work, I shook my head so hard. I was like, I cannot believe that he just said Alan Rodgers. And I thought for a moment that you guys were just going to glaze over it and just keep going. And I was like, if someone doesn't say something, I'm going to freak out.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's really good.
I googled Aaron Rodgers because I was like, "Is this a person?" All of the results are just Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even say, "Did you mean Aaron Rodgers?" No, it's just like, "No, you mean Aaron Rodgers."
Yeah.
No.
So, once again, an invisible comment here. Shout out to Chris Colby Fantasy Football 4, who says, "quote No, I said Kellen. Oh, no." Great callback there because you thought I was calling you out for someone else.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Adam says. I noticed you didn't thumbs down these comments, Fitzy, so I'm disappointed in you. But anyway, I love the dots on paper candy, Adam says. You couldn't at least thumbs that one down, Fitzy?
He knows it's a thumbs down. I don't need the visual confirmation.
I do, though.
I also really want to thumbs down this next one. Joe Flacco greater than DTR, greater than Deshaun Watson, greater than PJ Walker. Corby, thoughts?
You know, I don't see the DTR over Deshaun Watson, even though I hate Deshaun Watson with every fiber of my being. I think he's probably a better football player. I would put Joe Flacco above all of them, though. I do think Joe Flacco is elite. And have you ever seen his like Pizza Hut commercial? That shit is really good. It's really
when was it? Like 2012?
It was so long ago. I think it was after they won the Super Bowl, and he is just so terribly awkward. So I'll always respect him. I can't believe that he's playing for the Browns. It's truly shocking.
I saw a stat before we move on, not to make it Jets pod, but Joe Flacco led the stinky Browns to 19 points. If the Jets scored 19 points every week, they would be 8-4.
Oh my god.
I miss him. I'll admit I miss him. Anyway, the next comment here from Adam. Cooper Kupp, old and injured. Puka and Kyron better. Rip. Colin?
He did okay this week. I don't know. He is injured. I don't know if he's old. Was he like 29 or 30? I guess that's
like
pretty
31.
old. Yeah, I guess that's pretty old. But I mean, I don't know. No comments. Good. Yeah, they're both good players, Adam. This next one says, or this is a new picture for me. The disrespect, however, to someone to refer to Sonny Moore, aka Skrillex, as an emo-looking boy. How do we not know those Skrillex? It's just sinister. I also picked this photo because it is Sonny Moore. Why does he call him Sonny Moore? Wearing an Aphex Twin shirt.
Why does he call him Sonny Moore? Because that is his name's not Skrillex McSkrillex. Like that's just his passport name.
Yeah, but like people don't call Beyonce. I guess her name is Beyonce.
He's
people don't call Lady Gaga Stephanie Smith or whatever her name is.
He's putting some respect on Skrillex's real name. I appreciate that. Adam, I'll put my hand up. You catch me zooming in on people's profile pictures all the time to read things like abstinence never fails. I did not zoom in enough on emo-looking boy to get real distinguishing features. That's on me. As the research wing of the pod, that's on me.
Minorly famous in quotes. That's fucking Skrillex with like 7 exclamation points. Adam is extremely passionate. It can be tough to get a rise out of Adam. I like to try a lot, but apparently this is how you do it. By the way, I thumbs this one up. I just thought it was funny, but that's not like a truce or like a sign of peace. Fuck Adam. Adam links the Wikipedia article from first to last. I think it's a band. I clicked it earlier, right?
Yes.
Just like so there you go. That's what his name is, I guess, is inspired by.
I looked at that. I looked at the Wikipedia page. It looked like just a bunch of emo-looking boys to me. So.
The disrespect by Fitzy.
Absolute disrespect. Mike's going to chime back in here. He's going to say, thank you for not doubting me, coin. We're going to talk about the coin. You guys keep listening. You're not going to believe what the coin pulled off this week. Let's move on to Chris Colby Fantasy Football 4 here. he starts off with, I think my Michael tight end comment had to do with the Yahoo commenter Michael, who loved right ends, maybe. Can somebody explain what this comment means to me?
I think it's mostly directed at me because last week he commented, "I can't wait for Mike's tight end podcast called or tight end table or something." Is that right, Fitzy? And I was like,
Yes.
why did he comment this? Like, why would Mike have a tight end podcast? And he's like, and then this is his response. So it's a little, the maybe at the end makes it seem a little passive aggressive, a little snarky. I'm biting my tongue here. Fitzy told me we shouldn't make fun of people for spelling things, but yes, Michael loves his right ends. So there you go.
Yeah, no, and again, in terms of making fun of people for misspelling, we will get into it. Chris also says, "Oh, sorry about the Alice's Restaurant flub. I'm sure I've heard it back in the day, but I'm 30 now and can't remember anything from before I was 10." Hey, dementia comes for all of us, and I'm right there with you.
I can't remember anything pre-2019, so
fair.
That's the way that it is. Chris Colby says the trade for Chuba is looking better every week. Yeah, I mean, I've been flip-flopping on this trade. I originally thought I liked it, and then I did not like it because it looked like Miles Sanders was starting to come back, and then that didn't happen. So good for you, Chris. You're still in the thick of it, so you obviously know what you're doing.
Not to make it about me, but this is just total vindication.
Oh my fucking god!
About Miles Sanders and Cam Akers in theory, but not in practice. Because this is what I was talking about. It was just I picked the wrong guy. That's what happened. But this is just Miles Sanders in a different uniform. He also said Joe Flacco's still elite. I'm not going to give you guys a chance to respond there. Joe Flacco's still elite. Yes, true. Like Fitzy said, too bad he's still not wearing the green. If Corby has the worst Yahoo rating, says Chris, he won't be Corby or Mike. What will his new identity be?
This is my favorite comment of the week because we actually need to discuss this. For those who missed it, last week we talked about how if Corby has a lower Yahoo rating than Brandy, then Brandy becomes Corby. And if Corby has a lower end of season rating than Mike, by not getting one more win, then he loses the title of Mike. So, Corby, what's your middle name?
Saint Romain.
So I guess you go by Saint Romain.
Guess so. Let me tell you what's not going to happen though. That I will be silver come next week. I'm only 3 Yahoo points away, unless you haven't noticed. But we'll get into it. Chris says swag strat with 3 defenses, baby. Sure. I mean, you got to make the playoffs, but if you do make the playoffs, then you at least have a defense for every week picked out. Great for you. He also says Fitzy, great bet. Which one?
I made a bet for $5 that Chris Colby would win, and I guess we'll get into it. I won. Next, Mike's got a couple of nice long comments here, and this is certainly, I almost want to just gloss over it. Is this the craziest playoff seeding implication final week we've ever had? I can't even think of the John Boys-esque segment Fitzy is cooking up to review every scenario. Will Colin have some spreadsheet/graph with cockamamie formulas? Will Corby appear in next week's episode to break down the matchup of the week? The war between hosts. Some may say cousin. I like beer, Chris versus Sean. The beekeeper, Fitzgerald, is the matchup of the week. But the juicy, tender drama of a host battle where one can play the spoiler to crush the other's playoff aspirations, that's grade A brisket right there. Next week's episode is going to be one to watch. The red wedding of Why Do Boys Play Games is upon us. We'll save it for later, Mike.
He also says on the subject of Mary Janes, I love honey. Mary Janes are basically wrapped like sugar daddies, and the wrapping sticks to the candy. I do not know who their target demographic is. They're exhausting to chew and give little to no reward in the flavor department, since they are essentially 30% paper. Yeah, I
50% paper like those fucking dots.
Yeah, that's true. And I can't remember what a Mary Jane tastes like, so I would have to do a taste test to figure that out. Okay, these next comments are all from me. I was driving into work this morning. I was not texting. I was using voice commands. It was all dictation. So let's start. If you can't spell, you shouldn't comment. Enough said. I mean, that's the crux of it. We're adults. This is an adult fantasy football league. If you can't spell it right, get out of my comments. The Patriots losing to the Giants. Name a more iconic duo. I was at Fitzy's house when the Patriots lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl for the second time. And I remember we were with Billy and we all hugged, and it was really awesome. Alan Rogers. I am now convinced Colin has somehow tapped into a different universe where all these other people exist, like Lance Thomas. I then said, if the GOAT graces your roster, you're guaranteed to victory. So, okay, again, does not make sense, but this is in reference to Tom Brady being on my roster last week and then also being on Mike's roster, and we both won. I also then gave reviews on the name changes, 10s across the board. Love those names. And I also commented, my final comment of the week, risotto is so good. So last night I made risotto. It's like the only thing that I feel confident in making in terms of food. I love risotto. It's so fun to make, and it's so delicious. I was wondering if you guys cook, and what is your go-to meal that is like your specialty?
Oh man, so I cook, I would say, most of the meals for Alex and myself. Her go-to specialty, because she definitely has one, is salmon. All things salmon, like a good walnut topped thing. She's really good with the glazes. If I had a single specialty, you know what? I'll throw out a specific risotto. One of the first things I made that I just keep going back to is a lemon and tarragon risotto. Google that. It's one of the first options. Make it. You'll love it. Super easy.
Delicious. Colin?
Yeah, whenever, we switch off making dinner, whoever isn't working, and I only make like 5 different things. The only thing I would say that is not something, everything I make is usually from scratch, but the only thing that I would say is not like a normal thing. Like I like tonight I made waffles, we had breakfast for dinner, is pizza, which I've been making pizza from scratch since I wore a nice Little Caesars uniform, because they make it fresh there, guys. This is a Little Caesars advert now. Go down to your local Little Caesars. They brought the pretzel crust back. They have stuffed crust pretzel crust. All right. I actually haven't had it yet, but I need to get down there. So my answer is pizza. I love pizza. So does Adelaide.
Who doesn't love a good pie? And I know that Colin can make a nice pie. If you have a specialty that you like to make all the time, go down to the comments. Leave a comment. I will make it. And I'll try it. And I'll let you know. Now I'm going to let you know about Week 12. Let's start off with the Chris Bowl. This was a barn burner, man. 2 huge scoring teams. We had no dicks, no cum, just football, and no football, just dicks and cum. This was an absolute barn burner. Chris Colby pulls off the victory. Colin and myself picked Chris Cloud. Fitzy and the coin picked Chris Colby. I mean, what is there to say? Mike Evans has an awesome week. Like he said, Chuba went off. Evan Ingram gets his first touchdown of the year. Michael Pittman is a man. Fucking Brandon Cooks is on one, and his defense, he had an awesome week. And that's not to take away from Chris, who is still the number 1 seed. He has another awesome week, and is just making everyone known that he is still a force to be reckoned with. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Chris Cloud is still a team to beat. I mean, he's put up this score with all those guys on bye. Hawk, Devontae, DJ Moore, Tommy DeVito. No, that one's a joke. But Jonathan Taylor was out. Zay Flowers, he put up 184 with these guys on bye. On the other hand, Chris just had 2 straight 200s. Now, I don't know if you guys know my thoughts on peaking and peaking at the right time. Chris is hitting that sweet spot. We're gonna have a nice graphic next week with the beginning of playoffs. We're gonna look at who's peaking at the right time. My prediction is that both of these guys have really found their groove. I mean, Chris is the 1 seed, so he's pretty much probably had it. With his team, he's had his groove all year. He's got an amazing team. But Chris has not always been at the top of the game, but he has been lately. He's mastered the art so good for him.
Yeah, I mean, so this is like David and Goliath. It's Godzilla versus King Kong, the top 2 scores of the week in the battle for supremacy about what this league is really about. This is Chris Colby coming back and saying, no, Mr. Cloud, this league is not about dicks and cum. This is about just football. And he put the smackdown on him. This was not quite a must win for Chris. We'll get into it, but putting up the 200 burger puts Chris into a much, much more comfortable spot this week. And same goes for Chris Cloud. The fact that he was 8-4 and lost sounded like a bad thing at the time. I think we're going to see as we go down the list here, all of the 8-4 teams actually ended up losing. So not to spoil the standings that we're going to look at in a little bit, but yikes. The next one, so you talk about a barn burner, Corby. We had quite a few true barn burners this week.
Yeah, next up we got Taylor versus Chris. So,
I think this is the barn burner of the week, personally. Colin, I'm going to turn it over to you in a second after I say Tyler barely keeps his hopes alive with, I'm going to call this one a true Monday night miracle on the back of his two quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, who put up less than Jake Browning.
Oh, yeah, lost the game. So that's a real heartbreaker here. It really it hurt me a lot. Not only did they put up 50 or whatever, but Christian Kirk had to get hurt, so that happened. I dropped Jake Browning and he scored a lot of points. I have this image of myself when I look into the mirror and I'm like, I'm a good fantasy football player. But when the evidence contradicts that, it's called cognitive dissonance. And that's what I'm going through right now is my identities are clashing. The truth is not reconciling with my thought on the truth. So, I'm going through a lot right now. Probably going to have a retreat sometime soon. Congratulations to Tyler, though. Good win. My apologies to Debo, who had a great weekend, and the rest of the team just didn't hold up their end of the bargain. So go ahead, Corby. What do you got? Some nice things to say about your boy Debo?
No, I got nothing to say about Debo. Most of my saying is that your defense outscored his defense by 18 points, and you still lost. They see defenses win championships, not as such.
Corby, I was going to say exactly this. This is maturity from Tyler's team because we've documented how a good most of his wins have come when Dallas defense scores over 30. Puts up -1. Tyler still ekes it out. So I think this is actually good growth, good maturity from Tyler's team.
And guess who's back next week? Fucking Justin Jefferson. So, man, he was on the brink of death, and now he's coming back. Is this the ascension? I don't think it is. Let's move on to Taylor versus Chris P, where Taylor pulls off the victory, and we had a whole round of the Florida men, all behind Taylor and Tua and Tyreek. What do you guys think?
I mean, what do I think? After watching Tyreek Hill get 2 bomb touchdowns in the first half, I didn't even have to look at this matchup. This is one where I just knew, okay, things are going to get interesting in the playoff race. I didn't have to look at the standings to know what was happening when I know Taylor's team is going off. And, I look up and down. I think I might have earlier this season besmirched Alvin Kamara with an offhand comment. I just want to firmly take that back. I haven't taken that back for a few weeks. Alvin Kamara has been crazy good for fantasy, at least. So much fun to watch.
His RB2 on the year, I'm pretty sure, after getting back from suspension or something like that. Crazy like that.
Yeah. Chris P really needed to win this one because of his low points for, and he didn't. He started Samaje Perine and Bryce Young, who has now scored single digits 5 weeks in a row as a starting quarterback. I'm going to keep harping on that because it's just, for me, this was always the problem. But, Bitsy will get into it, but there's stranger things have happened, huh? As for Taylor, again, just another team that, well, he's been solid all year, really. But another team that 171, that's a great end of season score right near the end of season. So things are looking up for Taylor. Great team, awesome team, love his team. Good job, Taylor. Next up, we got Corby versus Eric, where Corby gets the win. He gets the spoiler. He makes things interesting by taking down one of the 8-4 teams. I remember watching the Bengals Jaguars game, seeing if Jamar would get those points at the end. If Ridley or who else did you have in that game? Did you have somebody else?
I had T. Higgins.
Yes.
Seeing these guys, this was look at this. What is this? Corby finally ekes out a close game after those 2 tragic losses early in the year, or at least 2, probably more. So congrats to Corby. Yes, you're in last place, but you're making a difference here. That's what it's all about. So hats off to you. How do you feel? Is it bittersweet? Devon Achane is out there putting up 25. Go ahead.
Listen, I knew this victory was going to happen because my fantasy season was over. So now it's time for me to win, right? So because that's just how the universe works. As soon as I saw the coin picked me in the show notes, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to win this coin flip, no doubt about it. And I was very lucky to survive the Jamar Chase 31 points on Monday night. I feel very, very fortunate. Shouts out to Marquise Brown and Terry McLaurin for putting up zeros. I really appreciate that for the help for that, guys. Eric, your team is still solid, so thanks for keeping it interesting and breaking. What was that, like 8-game losing streak? Shouts out to T. Higgins for going off for a nice 6 points. Finally, my boy Tajay Spears, nice double-digit game. Love it. I love to win, and even though my season is over, I still get that rush of fantasy football victory. So I love it. I'm more than pleased.
Yeah, more than just bye week. This has actual playoff implications that I'll touch on later. An incredible. I mentioned the barn burner earlier. This to me was the barn burner because if I recall, so I actually stayed up long enough to watch the overtime because I was so invested in the fantasy implications. I didn't even care what was happening in the game. If Corby, am I right to say that at one point in overtime, Eric was winning after Jamar Chase caught a little screen pass? Then,
I have absolutely no idea because I was asleep.
So I think what happened was you were winning going into overtime. Then Jamar Chase catches a screen pass. Eric's winning. T. Higgins gets a screen pass. Now you're winning. They go back, and there was this play toward the end. I'm forgetting the exact details. It went to Jamar Chase, and he stepped out before running like 5 more. Like the difference came down to like a ref, like there was a flag, and we had to wait to see was he going to come back or not.
Oh my God.
So much fun to watch the end of this one. And yeah, it's unlikely that it's going to knock someone in or out of the playoffs, but stranger things have happened.
Speaking of strange things happening, let's talk about this matchup, which I found to be very, very enjoyable to watch. We had Mike versus Adam, the battle of friends that wear glasses. And Mike surprises us all, and it pulls off a real nice victory here. I stuck with my friend Mike and so did the coin, and Colin and Fitzy took Adam. And I think if we can attribute this victory to a few things. I think we can attribute it to Patrick Mahomes being pretty terrible. Zach Moss, definitely underwhelming. Devin Singletary being Devin Singletary for sure. Josh Downs fooling everyone into thinking he was going to be fantasy gold. Ramondre getting hurt. Adam has a down week. Not to shy away from Mike, because Mike had a great week. He scored 155. He scored more than I did. Not to make it about myself, I still never scored 150 this season. I think that might be a record. Mike's got a great, not a great team. Mike's got a great week. He's got James Conner going off for great things. CeeDee Lamb always going off. Devontae Smith is finally turning it on. You'll love to see it. The Justin Watson swag strat, I'm not really sure. But hey, you scored more points than I did, Mike. So congratulations. Thanks for keeping it interesting.
I'm going to list off real quick the teams that have won 3 out of their last 4 games. There's myself, there's Chris Colby, there's Chris Cloud, and there's Mike. Mike has won 3 out of his last 4 games to battle back, and I'm going to say it, to fight for dignity, because he did not want to end the year with 1 win, which is what he had before this run. He wanted to finish not in 12th place, which is where he was. I don't care what his points for says. Even if he's the last place by 100, he's winning. That's a winning mentality, Mike. Keep it going.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's got to be one of my biggest misses this year. I don't have him anywhere. I'm in a lot of leagues, and I just wasn't really interested in the Cowboys in general. But he has been, I think, the biggest piece of what Fitzy just said of the past 3 of the 4. He's been insane. I'm one of those. The ones that lost to Mike in the last 4 weeks. So, good for Mike. Adam, he'll be fine. You're right. Even if he loses like this week, he's got a good points. Maybe he won't make it out of bye now if he loses, but take your lumps. And speaking of lumpy lumps, let's lump on over to our final matchup here. We got Brandy versus Fitzy, another Monday night nail biter. We were seeing if Travis Etienne could get those precious points needed. I remember he did get them on a catch in the 4th quarter. It was near the end, and then overtime happened, so we got a little more points. But congrats to Fitzy for that. And Brandy, the swag star Malik Cunningham unfortunately did not pan out. But it's over. As for Fitzy, this is as your new name alludes to, you're ascending. You're in sixth place. If playoffs started today, you would be in. The important thing is Christian McCaffrey's bye is long gone. That's a playoff. You're a playoff team to me, baby. You're in. Dak Prescott still hasn't scored less than 26 in like the past 10 weeks, except his bye, obviously. So whatever. Fitzy's got an awesome team. It's awesome on paper, but unlike Corby's, it's also awesome in practice. So good way to go, Fitzy.
Thank you, Colin. Before I talk about my team, I want to say to Brandy, you're going to go down in the standings as very likely the 10th place team, unless Mike wins while you lose, and he outscores you by like 300. So you're in 10th place, just where it's going to be. But I think your season was much more dramatic and much more meaningful than that. You started 1-5. I think people don't realize how much of a launch button you pushed, because you went from 1-5 to 5-6. It's really just these past 2 weeks where some key players have let you down, and really tough loss here, obviously, right? Like, I think you deserved to win it. RIP to your team, RIP to your season, but it was a good run. It really was. Now, as far as how that run ended, going into Monday night, Yahoo said, and I've never seen this, it was an exact 50% chance of winning with only one player playing. I looked at the projection and I said, there is absolutely no way. Like, I thought it was probably closer to a 20% chance for me. After Travis Etienne had that touchdown in the first quarter, I thought, now it's interesting. I didn't think it was going to be that interesting. I had adrenaline going up through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, if I were you in your situation, I probably wouldn't have been able to go to sleep until 2 a.m. most likely after the game was over. It's too much. It's just simply too much. Fitzy, I'm happy for your team. It's hard to not root for you because number one, you're my very good friend, and number two, you've got that dog in you. You've got that underdog mentality. You're trying to figure out your tight end situation. At some points you're going to start Pat Freiermuth and he's going to do well. At some point you're going to start Drake London and he's going to do well. I'm gonna send off Brandy's team as a farewell here, and shouts out to Brian Robinson for being a really interesting fantasy asset this year. And Brock Purdy for becoming an MVP candidate by throwing screen passes. So shouts out to those guys. Those guys are cool. Let's move on to the standings here. So for this week, I went 4-2, 39-33 overall, 8-3 on locks of the week. Eat my ass. Colin goes 2-4, 42-30 on the season, 5-5 locks of the week. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. Fitzy goes 3-3, perfectly balanced, all things should be. 42-30 on the year, and for locks of the week, he's 5-5, perfectly balanced as all things should be. And for the first time in maybe history, the coin goes 6-0. Now 41-31, better record than me. 1-2 on locks of the week.
I believe it went 6-0 earlier this season.
Oh, really?
Because I think we made the same comment.
Jesus Christ. For the second time this season.
But this one is way more amazing because Fitzy, there was 2 or 3 times where we were like, oh no, the coin picks Tyler, and oh no, the coin picks Mike.
The coin picked Tyler, Corby, Mike, the underdogs. Yeah.
But I mean, great picks in hindsight, obviously. But at the time, we were like, oh, this is it's a bad week for the coin. That's incredible, honestly. It really is.
I'm getting real nervous that the coin's gonna win. I forget. I gotta go back to episode 1 and see how much money we put on this. I don't like this.
That's awesome.
We got that dog in us. Let's go to Transaction Watch. This was quite the interesting Transaction Watch. Let's get the defenses out of the way here. We've got Green Bay going to Chris Cloud for a nice $5, with Adam going for the $0 bid per usual. Nothing like a nice $5 defense, right, Fitzy?
Love to be a trendsetter. Absolutely love it. Green Bay, are they facing New England this week? Is that it? It was I forget if it was New England or it was one of the top 3 terrible teams.
They're playing the Giants.
Okay, even better.
Tommy DeVito's going off.
Yeah, no offense, Tommy.
No offense, Tommy. So we'll start there. We'll move on to quite the run of quarterbacks here. Let's take a step back. Let's go to last week. on December 2nd at 3:15 a.m., we had a waiver claim process for Tyler for Jake Browning for $40. This was after Colin had already dropped him, correct? And then you put in a waiver claim again for the rest of your fab for $38. You lost to Tyler, and then Tyler started him against you, and then you lost. And I know what that feels like. So I'm not gonna beat you down here, Colin. You know, you had a lapse in judgment. It's Jake Browning.
Oh, there was no judgment. It was, I don't know if you listened to the pod. It was an accident. I meant to drop Justin Watson.
Oh, right, totally. Yeah.
No, why would I just spent $20 to pick him up? I didn't want to drop him, but I did it. It was the first thing I did when I woke up is I checked my fantasy team. It was like, because waivers had just processed, and I was like, who's available? I picked up Jonathan Mingo, meant to drop Justin Watson, drop Jake Browning. That's the way you play it where it lies, huh? And
Yeah.
I had it lied real bad for me.
I'm really sorry about this one, Colin, because we talked last week about how, what if Mac Jones puts up enough points to beat? If Mac Jones had started, Brandy would have won. We didn't even consider the possibility that Tyler was going to pick up Jake Browning and win because of his heroics. So I feel for you. I'm sorry.
I will say this. So Monday morning, I think I was up. It was like I think I had 127 and fit Tyler like 90, and I still had Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. He had his two quarterbacks. I said to Kim, I said, I think I'm going to lose this because like it wasn't. I don't think it was that. I don't think it was absurd at all. I mean, it didn't go the way I got. I thought that my guys would score a little more and. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Corby kind of. I remember he talked earlier in the year about how like I forget what it was. Like I think a defense scored a lot, and he's like, "Yeah, I already lost this. I know. You just even if the odds say like 80% you just know." And I just knew. I knew pretty quick, even when the odds said like 80% still in my favor. I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna lose this," and then I accepted it. I almost feel good about the fact that it was a mistake and not like Corby said, a lapse in judgment. Because then at least I know like it wasn't like a rational like problem. It's not like I did the wrong. I mean, I did do the wrong thing, but it was an accident. It wasn't like I was stupid. I was. Okay, you guys know what I mean. It wasn't like I didn't make the wrong decision. I just did it. I made a oopsie. I didn't. People don't mean to slip on a banana peel. They don't. They're not. They don't go. Hey, there's a banana peel. I'm gonna step on it. They don't see it. Then I tried to bid on Mitch Trubisky. Let's move on. Do you guys want anything to say about Jake Browning?
No. I was gonna say for these next two, I just love to see Taylor employing some really like not dirty, but like he's getting down into the mud with these tactics. He's finding out exactly how much money Colin has left and adding one more dollar. Yeah. That's research.
And that's research, and that's growth from Taylor.
I'm gonna say that's a silver-worthy move.
Yeah. Is he silver yet?
No, God, no. I would have. I would have brought that up. Come on, he's a 572.
Yeah, close. He's right there, but So I have Kenny Pickett. He got hurt, and everything's fate is conspiring to keep me out of the playoffs, and that's fine. As Kenny Pickett goes down, I try to pick up Mitch Trubisky. I don't get him. Aiden O'Connell apparently was the starting quarterback on the waiver wire. He goes for 40 to Eric. Taylor also, and then CJ Beathard, $1 to Tyler. Tyler texted me this morning. He's like, "Why didn't you bet on anyone else? Why did you only bet on Trubisky?" At no point in my mind when I made that bid did I think anyone else. I thought I would win it by $30. I didn't look at anyone's team. I didn't know that anyone else was this desperate for a quarterback. So I haven't even looked at Taylor's. I guess he's desperate, but c'est la vie, as Fitzy says. So I'm taking my lumps, and it's a real lumpy year for me.
I would like to add there was a transaction that we're missing here. I put in a $0 bid for Nick Mullins. He is currently on my team. The only reason I did this was in the Colin universe where he is now the starter for the Vikings. I did not want you to have him against me this week. So I was also in on the blocking for the quarterback type.
He might be is.
He's not. So I just did it out of like they didn't announce the starter yet at the time of waivers, and they just announced it yesterday, I think, or it was either yesterday or this morning. They announced that it will be the Pastronaut for another week. So it will not be Nick Mullins, is what I'm trying to say.
The what you says the Pastronaut?
Yes.
Hey, we missed all sorts of transactions, Corby. Sorry, I don't always get the ones when I'm doing it here that didn't have any fab on them. Shout out to Colin for picking up Sam Darnold at 8:30 this morning, and then at 8:30 this evening, while we were recording this podcast, dropping him to pick up Tom Brady. So shout out Colin for keeping the moves flowing.
Fuck. Oh, I heard you can't lose.
Yeah.
So let's go, Tommy.
Tom's a sleeper agent. I'm sending him to destroy your team.
Fuck.
Let's move on to name change breakdown. Let's do this super quickly here. We've only got one, and it's a good. It is a good one here. There's a rating here that I don't agree with. We've got Sean changing his name from Team Valley to Team Ascent, with a photo of somebody who looks like freestyle rock climbing. And it totally fits the theme of your narrative here, Sean. I'll give it a 7.5.
That's the lowest rating you've ever given, and I deserve it. So yeah, no, this one's bad because as I was prepping, I put more time into the playoff picture than I did to team picture. So this time I just Googled man climbing mountain vector image, and that's what I got. So low effort, low return. That's what 7.5 means to me.
I'll be excited for team peak or team mountain after this week when you put up like 180.
Speaking of peaks, it's time for the peak part of this podcast. It's the Yahoo Comments of the Week presented by Corby. Today I went back to the well, our old favorite, CJ Beathard. I'm looking at listen, all right, I went back here because of Trevor Lawrence. All right, he got hurt. This place was flooded with people. So I went back here. I found a good one here. This is from Who Dat Nation. Who Dat Nation says, and the reason I picked this one, I thought it was pretty wholesome. He says, keep that play-by-play coming. I'm on a plane getting ready to take off soon, and the live service just froze up with an emoji type thing. Landon replies and says, have a safe flight. And Who Dat Nation says, thanks. The thing of note here is that Landon gets 14 thumbs up. I don't think I've ever seen that many thumbs up on a Yahoo comment.
Oh, I've seen it, but certainly not in a Beathard thread. Two things to say about this. Number one, you're right. It was flooded in there. I texted you guys. This is Paul Erasure. I got to scroll so far to check up on my boy now because I can't look up Mbike Mabuzuki, whatever the guy's name was, the D tackle. So yeah, it's sad. I got to scroll further to see Paul. Second note here, I think I've said a few times here on the pod, like some people, if they have a certain name, they're more likely to be a certain profession, right? The irony of a guy named Landon asking for a safe flight and a safe landing, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
My. First of all, I just like that Landon had one thumbs down because I want to know who does that. Who's that person?
It was probably fucking Paul.
Or maybe. And that's the other thing is not only is it Paul Erasure, but it just feels like people are invading our space. I feel like CJ Beathard's chat was our place. Fitzy was the newest comment saying like, guys, I'm worried about Paul. Like I'm there replying to Paul. Corby's there looking at the comments. And then the last thing is I'm not like too good. Like what context is that? What is that? I thought that was like a sexy smiley emoji, Like a
No, I think it's like an annoyed one where your eyes are like this. Like you're like.
Oh, but he's got that side smirk going.
Yeah, I thought it was like a.
I don't. I'm sorry. It's that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the ASCII one that in his original comment. The actual emoji, yes, that is definitely sexy.
So I like to see the sparks flying in the Yahoo player chats.
Perhaps we'll be seeing a Landon and Who Dat Nation wedding.
Right. With the deletion of Omegle, it's hard for strangers to link up these days to reach out and find a friend. But if you miss it, you'll always have the Yahoo message board.
I declare a new safe space for the Why Do Boys Play gamers. I would like you all to go to this guy's had 0 comments in almost the last month. Please go to Jeff Driscoll and reply to my comment with a quick, hey, Fitzy. We'll all know how to follow each other in Jeff Driscoll's chat.
Why is there 14,000 comments in here?
Oh, because
he was
of last
relevant
year.
once upon a time.
Yeah. Tight end eligibility, baby.
November 7th, somebody comments, stud. Fucking awesome.
You guys know, like, sometimes they moderate, like, I had a Zay Jones comment on Monday that got rejected.
Yeah, there is auto moderation. You can't swear. I did this once. I said, "quote my dumb ass," blah blah blah. They took it down. I changed it to "I'm so dumb," blank.
What did you say, Colin?
I'm pretty sure it was basically what I said in the Yahoo group chat, which was just a comment on how, like, my week or season relied on naked Zay Jones.
So I'm sure it was the word naked.
It was probably
got
just
you.
the word naked, so not a very, dirty word, but I guess naked. It's PG rated. Although I guess you can talk about hanging yourself after eating a number 2 or whatever.
There's the little how many people are here right now? Jeff Driscoll just updated for me. 3.
I wonder why. Speaking of naked, we've got one of our co-hosts who's about to bear all, if you know what I'm saying. We've got something that is called the playoff machine. So, from my understanding, is that every game this week matters, except for one. Sean, I'm not going to mince your words for you. Why don't you take it away?
So I wrote every week matters, or every game matters except for one in the show notes, and that was before I did my deep dive. I've uncovered quite a few permutations.
Oh God.
So if you'll please avert your eyes and look at my screen for not avert, but divert your attention. Give it to me for a little bit here. We're going to talk about, in 1 week, we've got over 50. I was unable to calculate all the different ways that this week could go. It is incredible what we've got going on in this league. So number 1, we all know this. We have 9 teams separated by just 1 game, looking top to bottom. All the top 9 teams could go basically any number of ways. Let's talk about the 36 possible outcomes before we even consider the points for implications. So we need to put some assumptions in here if we're going to ever have a chance to calculate what is everybody's chances to end up where. I'm going to assume that nobody can gain 100 points on somebody else this week. So that is to say, if you've got 1,900 points in the points for and someone else has 2,000, I just said, you're not going to top them. Because we had to do something to make this calculable. With that said, the top 3 teams have indeed clinched a playoff berth. The top 6 teams all have a chance at a bye this week. And teams 4 through 9, we saw this, they're all 7 and 6. They're all in more or less the same bucket. If I allow a single 101 point swing, however, Colin could have a bye, while Eric misses the playoffs. There are innumerable ways that this league could end up. It's that wild right now. So in order to get there, I created what I call the playoff machine. I'm going to unveil this question mark at the end here, and I'll be posting a link to this document so that you can play with it yourselves. But I've calculated the chance that each of you will have to make the playoffs if you win or lose. Because this week, every game matters. And with that, I'm not going to talk about the standings as they are. I'm not going to talk about all 36 permutations. I want to bring us through the matchups this week. We're just going to talk about them on this screen. And we're going to start with Brandy versus Eric, the least likely to have an outcome. But Corby, because you laid the smackdown on Eric last week, there's that outside chance. I call it 0.001% chance that Eric will lose while all of the 7 and 6 teams win, and Colin outscores Eric by at least 100 points. I say all of them. Of course, Chris and I can't both win, but all the 7 and 6 teams need to end up with more points for than Eric. It's basically certain that he's going to make it, but I would love if Colin got the 1 seed over Eric. That, like, to thread that needle would be fun. So let's talk a little bit about this matchup. What are you guys seeing?
It feels like the projection. I mean, the projection is pretty close. The idea that Derek Carr is not going to be in the lineup Who's got him? Trubisky, who's gonna have maybe the lowest scoring fantasy week of all time because I think he's terrible. And I think that game tomorrow is going to be super low scoring. So I don't think that helps. I don't think that Nico Collins. This is a good week for Nico Collins to have a bad week, just because of where I think Eric is in the playoff hunt. So I think that benefits Brandy a lot, and I think that Brandy has the upper hand on certain occasions, like maybe Elijah Moore comes alive with Joe Flacco some more. Dalton Schultz hopefully can come back with the loss of Tank Dell, and she's getting Josh Allen back. So I can definitely see it swinging either way. Realistically, I don't have a pick yet, but I do feel I could go either way. I'm taking Brandy. Fuck it, let's go.
I like it because my brain tells me to pick Eric, but my brain in the past 3 weeks, I feel like this league has gone bananas. I feel like the 75-25 matchups are all going toward the 25%. That being said, I'm going to pick Eric because I've been tooting along his team all year long. I don't care if he's starting Kyle Pitts. I think his team's awesome. And Brandon's team is good. Josh Kelly's there, and I don't think Brandy started DeMarcado last week, but I remember he was in there for a spot second. So I think that RB2 spot's a little funky, but I'm taking Eric, and I'm taking him to probably make the playoffs. Then I don't appreciate the 0.0002%. I'm gonna pretend that that's more on the other teams doing bad than you not thinking that I can score about 250 here or something. I think I can do it with Tom Brady in my lineup. I'm just trying to make it about me, by the way.
Yeah, you'd have to pass a few others, but yes, Tom Brady could make it happen for you for sure. I thought it was going to be a spicy pick. I'm picking Brandy. I look at Eric's matchups this week. CJ Stroud and Nico Collins are currently projected to combine for 30 points against the Jets. Sorry. That's just not going to happen. I expect those to go under. And Brandy, I think Chris Olave is going to get, I hope anyway, more than 13. So, yeah, pretty surprisingly easy one for me here. I'm taking Brandy to end the year strong.
Everyone, please welcome back the coin as always.
The coin is going to take Eric. And give me a quick second. I have not rolled to see which matchup will be locked in. It is indeed this one. Eric is the lock of the week.
It comforts me greatly to know that I'm in the company of the coin.
Our next matchup is Tyler versus Mike, and this is where things start to get interesting. Mike, of course, is outside of the playoff picture looking in, but Tyler is on the outside, very much looking in, trying to make it in. So I just want to run through the situation here. This is must win for Tyler. And this is why I have not run this out for everybody, because Tyler's was the easiest to calculate, and it still is a mouthful. If he wins, he only has a 90% chance to get in, because if Taylor and Colin both win, while Tyler does not outscore Colin by 22, or if I lose while Taylor and Colin both win, and Tyler does not outscore me by 58, well, he's out. Got it? Good.
Oh, man. Colin, who are you taking here?
I'm going to take Mike because his team is hot, and because Tyler just beat me, I'm still pretty salty. I know Justin Jefferson is back, and Jake Browning's the new thing in the league. But Zach Wilson's finally got his confidence. I think he's really going to go off this week. He just needed some time on the bench, and CeeDee Lamb is putting up about 30 a week. And I like Mike's Cinderella story a little more. Still got Justin Watson and TJ Chark in there, so that's a winning strategy. Give me Mike.
I think I'll go next. I think I'm going to begrudgingly take Tyler here. I can definitely see a path to Mike winning. I just think that I like the little bits and bobbles from Tyler's team a little bit more. And even if Tyler does make playoffs, I don't think he's long for the road. Sorry, Tyler, and sorry, Mike. But I'm going to take Tyler here.
I'm sorry to say it, Mike. But when I look at Tyler's team, I've got to cross my fingers that the return of Justin Jefferson lives up to those 18 points. I think Tyler's got a special chance to be sort of not quite Team Valley, but Team Chasm, where he dropped off real quick and came back extra quick. I think Tyler's got a good team. I like his odds. I'm giving him that 90% chance to get in with a win. And the coin takes... No, not again. It's Mike.
Let's go, baby. Win.
Colin and the coin, ride or die.
Before we move on, looking at this matchup, I just want to quickly flash up. This is the full sheet that I'll be making available for everybody here. Trying to express how many different things could happen, I think is best done through how long the stupid formula is. And it's different for every cell here. Everyone's chances are different. So Tyler's percent chance to lose, even though it's 0, there was math involved. So 90% chance came from this shit. So when Mike said earlier he can't wait to see Colin's presentation and cockamamie formula, cockamamie formula's here, baby. All right, let's move on. To the next one, where Taylor really wants a win, but can get in with a loss. We'll get into it. Taking on, it's Chris Cloud with this picture.
Yes.
Trying to stay number 1, trying to get a bye.
To me, this is a Taylor one for me. I mean, Chris probably has the better team. Beginning, I'm driven by narratives. Taylor is going for silver, but more importantly, he's going for gold. 2 years ago, famously, Fitzy beat him in the championship game, and I think he's coming back with a vengeance this year. In fact, could we get a rematch this year? It's possible. We got 2 teams peaking at the right time. Taylor just put up 170. Chris just put up 180 with like half these guys on his bench. I don't care. I'm taking Taylor. He's going off on the rocket. Dare I say he hit the launch button? I meant to say that for Eric, but I didn't, so we're going to say Taylor hit the launch button instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Chris here. I think that there's question marks with Adam Thielen at this point. His quarterback is dog shit, and so it's just not happening anymore, unfortunately for Big Thiel. Charbonnet, is he even playing? And if he isn't, then who is he replacing him with? I have no idea. So that's definitely a question mark. Not that Kamara couldn't totally carry the load for him. I just think Chris's squad is just too good. So I'm taking Chris here.
So just to spoil it, this is going to make our 3rd out of 3 matchups where Corby and I agree and Colin and the coin agree. Because I look at this matchup, and on the one hand, Alvin Kamara is probably underprojected, but so is Chris's defense spot. At the time of recording, he did not have one, at least in his lineup. Giving him a 0, I think that's going to flip things. And realistically, I like you said, his team has been peaking for a while because it's really freaking good. The fact that he has 5 losses is actually kind of surprising, given how many points he's got on the year. So I think he keeps it rolling. And to be honest, I kind of have to hope for it. One thing I did not bring up is every single team that is 7-6 wants every other team that is 7-6 to lose if they can. Taylor basically guarantees himself a spot in the playoffs with a win, and with a loss, he would require, I think it is 3 out of the 4 of, this would be Chris P, Taylor, Tyler, and specifically me. He needs 3 out of those 4 teams to lose. Now, I say myself, I've got fewer points than Chris Colby. We'll get to that matchup in a little bit, but Chris has got a much safer spot for his playoff run. So Taylor's rooting for a bunch of stuff to happen if he loses and for some points for stuff to stay his way. But for now, I like Taylor's chances, even with a loss. Give me Chris, though.
Looks up. Next up, we got Adam versus Chris P. Chris P, he's every week I bring it up, but he was first place about 5 weeks ago or something. He was riding high, and then just like my team, the karmic justice came for him in his low points for, and he's riding low now. Adam, he had a bit of a down week last week, but I don't think that's indicative of the strength of his team. I think he's got a good team. Adam's a bit of a hater. Hopefully, he finally has the courage to, actually start Taysom Hill. I don't think he started him last week. He keeps slotting him in, then take him out at the last second. Leave him in. Leave it in, Adam. Give me Adam. Chris. This is a tough one. I'm going to keep saying it. You're starting Bryce Young. So give me Adam.
Chris, unfortunately, all roads here, to me at least, lead to the consolation bracket. So I'm going to take Adam, but how interesting would it be? I mean, Adam is in, right? Adam's 100% in the playoffs. What if he just threw? What if he just took everyone out of his lineup and just Chris wins and throws everything for a loop? What happens? We don't know. But I don't think Adam's not that way. Adam wants to win. Adam wants to buy. So I'm going to take Adam.
Yeah, I'll add in that Adam's 100% chance is assuming that he does not get jumped by somebody who's more than 100 points for behind him. So if you do sit everyone, that number may change. There's an assumption built in here.
Fair
now,
enough.
Chris, you'll see, why is it that there's only a 17% chance to win, even though you got a 49% chance to get in if you win? Well, it comes down to the fact that I'm basing it off of this week's projection numbers. And as you can see on the screen at the time of recording, 34%. This is not as simple as 17% equals 34, you divide it in half. Chris needs a couple specific things to happen. Number one, Tyler, Taylor, and Colin could all lose while he wins. Number two, any two of those three could lose and he could get in. This is because if you look at basically where he is in the standings, he needs to jump over two of those teams in the standings, which he more or less can't do with points for. So he needs to win while they lose. And you have to think, well, he's in 9th right now, doesn't need to get to 6th. He's guaranteed that one of myself or Chris Colby will lose. So he gets a free jump in position if he gets the win. So his is real simple. There's no points for that needs to happen. He needs to win and pray. I should add that I do not believe in that scenario. I am taking Adam, and the coin is on Chris.
No one should ever introduce their own matchup. So next up here, we've got quite the interesting one. We've got two 7-6 teams here. Fitzy already said it. These are must-win, obviously, for both of these teams. We've got Sean versus Chris Colby, and the projections say it will be close, and I totally agree. It will be close. It will most likely come down to some sort of luck ball or something like that. As I look at these lineups, I am terrified for both of you and would be having bad anxiety pains while looking at this matchup. If I have to pick here in terms of team makeup, oh my God, I'm just running through each one. Shit. Fitzy, I really want to pick you, but I think I'm taking Chris here. I think I like Chris's matchups better a little bit. I think I like his tight end situation a little more. I like his quarterbacks more. I think Justin Herbert is like the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm taking Chris.
Yeah, and that's a fine pick with Chris. Again, 2 straight 200 weeks. His team's red hot. That being said, I'm taking Fitzy. Let's go. I'm taking Fitzy. I think I'm not I'm a big Justin Herbert guy. I like Justin Herbert. He's playing Denver. I don't know. They've been pretty quiet since giving up 71 points against the Dolphins, but I remember that. That happened. So, that could be something. I mean, these are 2 great teams. Make no mistake about it. And if one of them misses playoffs, it'll be a tragedy. They both deserve to be in there. But they both got maybe off to a little slow starts, both of them. but they're coming off. They're both peaking at the right time. So I'm hoping somehow they can both make it in. According to this, I mean, the odds are against it. But Christian McCaffrey's out there as long as he's playing. Fitzy's got a great chance. I'm thinking Fitzy. How much did Christian McCaffrey score last time they played Seattle? He put up 20.6. 30.9. Give me Fitzy. 31 points.
It's very, very kind of you. I do want to comment before I make my pick. Chris's 31% chance of getting in with a loss was very surprising to me. This feels like a win, like a must-win scenario. It's a, really probably should win, but that's a surprisingly high number because he's been stacking 200 burgers. This one was the toughest one to calculate, just to flash up this formula. I'm not going to tell you all the scenarios that might need to happen, Chris, because there's like 7 or 8 of them that all have very small chances of happening. Needless to say, I hope we both make the playoffs. I really do. Like Colin said, I was going to disagree just as a reaction, but I think we both do deserve to make it in. Now, as for who I think is going to make it in, I look at these teams just like Corby did. I hate to say it. I look at Drake London and Cortland Sutton and wonder to myself, are they really going to combine for 22? Spoiler alert, they won't. Is Deontay Johnson going to put up that? Basically, Yahoo likes my middling bunch of flex guys more than they should. 144, I think, is a vastly over-projected number. Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields together. Justin Fields, I believe, coming off of a bye. Going to be fresh. So I think that he should be projected to win. This is going to make 4 out of 5 matchups where I agree with Corby and the coin agrees with Colin. And as Corby said, nobody should introduce their own matchup. So this next one, despite the fact that Corby can't make it, I am so excited to see Corby knock Colin out of the playoffs. Not shown here is the fact that Colin, with a loss, has a 0.4% chance of making it into the playoffs. We're going to open that up real quick because if the following all happens, so I'm going to read this as a formula. If D7, if Tyler loses while Colin maintains his lead and score over Tyler, and D9, Taylor loses while Colin somehow jumps over him. I believe you're 20 points behind if you jump over Taylor. At the same time as Chris P loses, and this one will be easier, but you maintain your lead over his points for. So bottom line, Colin, you've got to be rooting for all of those teams to lose. It gives you a lot of security, but ultimately, when you look at these numbers, that doesn't matter. You need to beat Corby in the last week of the season. I'm going to keep it really short. I'm going to keep it really simple. I want so badly to pick Corby. So I'm taking Corby.
I'm also taking myself. My team is red hot right now. First victory in 8 weeks. Please. We are about to crush the consolation bracket. And I'll see you guys there with me. So I'm taking myself. My team is gonna win.
It's a huge tragedy that I can't have Sam Howell in my swan song against Corby here, who's been besmirching his name all year long as he continues to put up numbers. They're not always the biggest numbers, but they're numbers. All right. So obviously it bumps me out, especially more so since I don't have a second quarterback. That being said, I'm going to lock myself in here for the 3rd time in a week, even though I've lost to it twice in a row.
I forgot to do my lock of the week, so this is my lock of the week.
Oh, you ass. Coin be with me. I'm just going to hope. I think there are some under projections here on my team. All right. Zay Jones with no Christian Kirk. Keaton Mitchell, why is that so low? I think Cooper Kupp is going to put up 20 points here. Sam Darnold. Oh, no, I'm not playing Sam Darnold. Give me my team. Baker Mayfield's overprojected, though.
Hey, this is a totally different team, but I do want to say that when you two faced off in week 3, Colin, you won, and you got 0.1 from Sam Howell anyway. So it can be done. You can get this win without Sam Howell. I've seen you do it. It is going to require Corby to start Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, and a whole slew of people that aren't on his team anymore. Tank Dell, sorry about that one. So yeah, very different team, but stranger things have happened.
The bad news for Colin is that he doesn't have Tutu Atwell to bail him out on Monday night. So sorry.
And that was the end of that. Once again, before I stop sharing, I'll be posting a link to this file so you can download it and you can play with these win chance numbers yourself. Tyler, if you think there's no way I've got a 58% chance of winning, you can update this number, and not only will it change your numbers, it'll change everyone else's at the same time. So, fun little formula. Play around with it. Play around with the playoff machine, presented by Why Do Boys Make Podcasts.
Can I just ask real quick who the coin picked? I don't know if
I thought that you read it out loud. Did I not write it down yet?
I don't know if you did. I didn't look.
It's written down, and the coin is sticking with you.
Yeah. So Colin, when you said "coin to be with me," I didn't know that was. I'm sorry. I thought that was the coin.
Oh no, I meant. I hope it will be.
Yeah, got it. The coin is being with you once again. So,
let's go. That's it. That steals my fate. I'm going to the playoffs. I'm going to Disneyland. Let's go.
So Corby and I made 6 out of 6 of the same picks, and Colin, you made 1 out of 6 of those picks with us. The coin was against me and Corby on every single one. So the wild week for the standings coming up ahead. I can't wait.
It's the last regular season week, so this is a big one.
It's really getting close. Yeah.
Fitzy, thank you so much for this work.
Yes,
it's
Fitzy,
really
great
it's
job.
so much fun.
Absolutely delicious.
So exciting. This is what we love. I love numbers. I love percentages, and I love winning fantasy. You know what else I love? I love being a degenerate, and I love gambling. Unfortunately, I wasn't here last week to make some bets, but I'll go over the ones that my friends made. We had a Chris Cloud versus Chris Colby bet straight up. We had it was Colin taking Cloud, and Colby was on the Fitzy. Oh, Fitzy took Chris Colby, and Fitzy came out on top on that one. This one here, very interesting. The Mac Jones regret bet. If you were to slot him in to any team's QB slot, I don't remember the whole thing. Give me the whole thing.
Here was, if you were to slot Mac Jones into any QB slot, would that be the difference that gave that team a win? So, like, if your quarterback scored 5 points and Mac Jones scored 10, and you lost by 3, Mac Jones would have gotten you that win if you had picked them up. That's the cockamamie idea. Now, Colin won because he said no, that will not happen, because Mac Jones got 0, and he needed at least 0.56 points to win this bet. So
yeah, well, I remember I was like, oh, if Mac Jones doesn't start, then like, is it nullified? And you're like, as long as we don't have any
tie. Yeah.
But then I was like, well, what if a quarterback has negative points and the team loses by that? You know, and I was like,
fair.
That was my fear, was what was going to happen. So luckily it didn't happen. My much worse fears were realized instead in my actual fantasy game, but not in this next one here, where Sam Howell went against Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert had I guess recency bias maybe is why Corby made his slanderous Justin Herbert statement. I also probably because he traded for him last year and he didn't do very well. But Sam Howell had a pretty terrible game, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns, so he puts up numbers. Let's go, Sam Howell. I think Justin Herbert had like 8 points or something, so that was a rough game.
That's Justin Herbert for you. This bet here, I'm very interested to see the development of this. We have a wife versus wife. Who will make it further in the playoffs? I assume the playoffs have not started in these leagues.
Correct.
I am interested to hear more about this next week. Perhaps we can see their teams, and we can predict how far they will make it into the playoffs.
All right.
That would be very fun. And finally, we had a tight end going over 100 yards on the week. Colin said no. Fitzy said yes. Sam Laporta took it personally and went off for 140 yards. Love that guy. He's going to be better than Gronk, probably.
Yeah, and he was the only one. There was some. I think Trey McBride had like 89. Corby's darling.
Love him.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. So it was a close one. That was a good bet.
I have one bet. Let's make some bets. And it's one. And Colin, not only do I want you to put your money where your mouth is, I want you to put your burger where your mouth is. I'm not sure if you realized, but this year we have not made a burger bet. And I propose to you that this matchup is the burger bet. Winner take all. Winner brings the other one to a hot Red Robin date for a free burger.
So this is not going to be included. This is not a $5 bet. It's not. Is
No.
it both or is it?
No,
okay.
Yeah, it can be both if you
Let's do
want.
both. No, let's do
All right,
both.
Okay.
Let's raise this. Let's raise this. Not the steaks, but the burgers. Let's raise the burgers.
Let's raise the ham.
Let's raise the ham. Yeah, that's a good one. This is the whole reason we haven't made one yet. I thought about that earlier in the year, but then I forgot. So I'm glad you remembered. I'm disappointed because I don't really see a way to get a Sam Howell bet going here. And then that's my statement. Fitzy, do you have anything? I'll come up with something in the meantime.
Yeah, let's do this next week. Sam Howell versus Sam Darnold.
This week right here.
Yeah.
I would take Sam Howell. I think Sam Darnold. Have you seen his points?
He just kneels it down. Yeah.
He's taking points. Give me Sam Howell. No,
I'll take
really.
Darnold. I'll take the Darnold. Sure.
Yeah, he's their kneeler.
I bet that this is the week where they finally make him the tush push guy.
Oh, that'd be sick. They don't want to risk Brock Purdy's shoulder or something.
I have one more bet, but it's not from me. It's from one of our favorite listeners, and he wants to offer it up to both of you, my co-hosts. Now, he texted me. Zach Wilson, announced starter, locked into my roster. No doubt I go down with the ship. So I asked him, want to sneak a Zach Wilson bet on to the pod we're recording? He would hammer the over on 0.5 Zach Wilson touchdowns this week.
I would also take the over.
I'll take the under for the content.
Well, you can cut this part. Corby, say no.
No, I'm good.
All right. I've been authorized by Mike to raise the stakes to 1.5 Zach Wilson touchdowns.
I'm slamming the under.
I'm definitely slamming the under.
Dang, Mike! I tried to negotiate for you. Colin, you're editing this part, right?
Great bet, Mike.
Just because it's the two of you, if it's all right, I'll take the over against one of you. Sure. Mike will take the over on the other.
I'll take Mike because Mike is my namesake.
Yeah, and we just had a bet, so yeah, me and Fitzy will. Yeah.
You guys make burger bets. I feel like I'm on the outside looking in. I'd like to make a bottomless basket of fries bet. And this one's really simple. I think that despite the odds being close to 50-50 and Colin's close to 50-50, I think that we're both going to make the playoffs. Yay or nay?
Yay. I mean, I picked us both, so of course I'm going to say yes.
Nay.
Of course, Corby's going to say no because he's playing me.
No way, Jose. Not gonna happen on my watch.
Wait, what did you say, Fitzy?
I said yes.
But you picked me to lose.
Yeah, well, you got a 0.4% chance of making it in. It could happen.
Well, you're putting your money in some. All right, good for you. I mean, I'm saying
putting my money in
Corby,
the
do you want to
basket.
do a 2-for-1?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'm thinking
Bring
about
it on, boys.
I'm thinking about a basket bet 3 ways should actually be like we all pick one horse. So pick one of these teams that's got close to a 50% chance to make the playoffs.
Colin.
And I'll flash it up so you can make your picks real quick. So pick one of the teams that's, between 40 to 60 something percent chance. So any of the teams that are uncertain.
Me.
I'll take Taylor.
Taylor, if I'm honest, I'm going to take Chris Colby because I actually think he's going to beat me. Colin, you take yourself?
I don't like this humble shtick, Fitzy. I don't like you giving yourself low scores on your name changes. Take going against yourself here. Where's the what do they say? Where's the panache?
Where's the chutzpah?
Where's the chutzpah? Thank you.
Top rivals, Colin and Adam. Secondary rivals, Colin and Fitzy.
My rivalry is born out of you not be. Adam is over. He's arrogant. You're too.
You're too.
Not everyone can be Goldilocks like you, Colin. All right. One of my favorite things to do.
You need to be the main character. You got some NPC energy going on here.
Jesus Christ.
Let's do a bet here real quick. Corby. I don't have Sam Howell this week.
Yeah.
I have Baker Mayfield. Wait, let me see if you have any. You have any quarterbacks on your bench?
No.
I know. I'm starting.
Do I have a backup quarterback? I don't think
You have Mullins.
Oh, I'm gonna drop him.
All right, I'm gonna say that Baker Mayfield will be the highest scoring quarterback in this matchup.
Yes, he definitely will be.
You think he'll Jared Goff?
No, road Jared Goff outside? No way.
Will Levis against Miami?
Oh, Mayo Willie.
Could be a shootout.
God damn it! All right, I'll take fucking. All right.
Yeah.
He will not be the highest scoring quarterback. All right.
Pseudo Howell over here versus.
Yeah, pseudo Howell Baker Mayfield. Please don't ever say that again.
Right, that's because it's disrespectful to Howell. You agree?
Yes,
right?
Definitely. I absolutely agree with that.
Some growth here.
Howell is Blake Bortles of 2023, fantasy gold.
Right, and he's going to take the Commanders to the NFC conference finals, just like Bortles.
I don't think so. What else? We got any more bets? Okay.
Oh wait, no. Let's just do one more, just because our my picks were like so contradictory to you guys.
Okay.
Do you guys just want to do a 2-for-1 that I'll have a better record than you guys? Or did you guys disagree on everything? I forget.
Colin, I've got an even better bet for you. This one's really simple. I think that the coin is going to have a better week than you.
Wait, were we the same or no?
You disagreed on Adam versus Chris. The coin, for some reason, picked Chris Patino.
Well, let's do it. Oh, no. Yeah. I'm going to have a better week than the coin. Yeah.
I'm betting on there's some magic in this little token.
You're absolutely right. We just saw, yeah.
Okay. I think with that, we'll close the big book of bets for now. And we'll start to say our goodbyes here. I'd like to thank you all so much for making it all the way to the end. Super appreciate that. Love when our people listen to the entire show. It's really awesome. It's really great. If you could, and I would so appreciate it, please pay attention to your screen right now. If you go into youtube.com, you type in the search bar, Why Do Boys Make Podcasts? You click the search button. You'll find our YouTube channel right here. Here's the subscribe button right here. You can hit that subscribe button. You'll notice that I'm not subscribed, but now I am. And you get this really cool animation, which is really fun. And you can even do notifications. You can do personalized notifications. You can do all. This is not a button. You don't have to hit that. You don't have to hit this one either. So just make sure you like, subscribe, everything that you see from this podcast. Really, really super appreciate it. I'd also like to say Free Palestine. That would be awesome. So that's cool. Thanks, guys, so much. Good luck to everyone this weekend. Really appreciate it. As always, my name's Mike.
I'm Colin.
And I am Fitzy.
And gamers!
Everything. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end. And you could have it all. My empire of dirt